Welcome to Behind the Dub, a podcast series where I usually talk to voice actors and those involved in the industry. For this episode, I'm taking a different route, for an occasional series for what I'm going to call Behind the Content, where I talk to those who create content for places such as YouTube. For my first episode, I'm speaking to Lawrie Rose of Lawries Mechanical Marvels.
Hello there everybody, I'm Lawrie, and I am one of these kind of infamous YouTubers with a semi-successful YouTube channel called Lawries Mechanical Marvels, which has just ticked over to 50,000 subscribers, which to me seems a really big deal. And then I look at some of my friends and colleagues and look at their channels and realise that it's not really that much of a big deal. We cover a variety of, well, tat, I think is the best way of doing it. We look at vehicles, so particularly things that you don't see anywhere else on YouTube, old, obscure, and we also cover railways. So we go and drive locomotives all over the country, and in fact working on all over the world. And then we try and repair our eclectic fleet of vehicles, of which I have 27 vehicles at the moment, and of that, four work.
Currently 4.
Yes, currently 4 work, of which 3. Oh wait, no, I take it back. 3 work, and three work. One of which isn't on the road because it's a dump truck.
Oh, goodness. Well, you're certainly, I would say, probably one of the most eclectic collections of things that I have ever sort of come across in my time. I don't know anyone who has 2 fire engines, their own locomotive, 2 tractors, a dump truck, and I forget how much else other things you've got, but it is just equal parts. Yeah, it's equal parts impressive and quite scary, because I do dread to think how much the maintenance costs of these they must add up over the time, especially something like a Jupiter, your fire engine, and Red Roof, your other fire engine. It's just like, oh god, I wonder how much all that costs.
I think the key point to take away from this is how little of it actually works. Sure, if it was all working, there would be quite the maintenance in maintaining everything. Considering very little of it is actually functional, the maintenance costs are significantly less. That said, at the time of recording, Dupes is sat at the garage having its annual inspection, and it's got to have 2 new front tyres because they've reached the age of which they need to be replaced, and that's 350 quid for those, plus anything else they find on it. So that's my my next big expense. And then I've got my MR2 turbo is sat in the garage where it has been for, at the time of recording, the last 10 months, which has got some horrendous bill hanging over the top of it, which I am really, really, really not looking forward to.
Dear. So you founded LMM about, to my reckoning, it's 4 years ago now.
We're in year 4. This is
You're in
year 4, I think.
And but you did sort of do your own YouTube videos with a channel called JM on Cars a little bit before you started LMM.
Yeah, I mean JM, yeah, he's a tiny little channel, hardly worth discussing. On some 186,000 subs now, something absolutely disgusting. He started JM on Cars. I think we'd just become friends. We'd met up a couple of times. We both worked in the film industry, and we both basically quit at the same time, working on a stupid low budget film, of which it was really tragic, to be honest. The lead actor, I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but he was a semi well known gentleman. He'd been cast in this, but he'd got at least early signs of dementia, and he couldn't remember any of his lines more than a single sentence. And it was just the most painful experience to try and film this in a way that we could make it work. And I was called in to help try and bring together they were, oh, we've got 2 extra days to get all the pickups. Now, for those of you who don't work in the film industry, pickups is generally for, we mucked up a little bit and we need to change this, or this bit wasn't quite right, or something's changed, so we need to reshoot something. And I was given the script, and I was working through it and be like, where's the stuff you've checked off? where is the stuff? And they're like, oh, no, this is what we need to shoot. And I'm
Oh no.
like, okay, so you've had a week to shoot this, yes. Okay. And you've shot less than 50% of this thing. Yeah. And you want me to try and sort this? Yeah. Okay. And so me and James both shared this sense of this is just ridiculous, and basically both said we'd had enough of the industry at the same point. And he was speaking about doing JM on cars and becoming a YouTuber. And I kind of went, that sounds fun. So we kind of kept in contact, and he started and shot the first, I don't know, 10 videos without me. And then asked me to come along, and I filmed one. I remember being berated for doing it wrong. And I think maybe I did another video, I can't remember. But then I made that mistake that I think by this point we've all done, by accidentally putting a bid on something on eBay and then coming back and realising that you'd won it. I did it in a kind of a slightly larger way than most people, by accidentally buying the second fire engine. Most people accidentally buy like a watch or an action figure or something. And I said to James, look, I've bought this fire engine down in Cornwall. The guy says it's fine and it drives well, but considering nobody else is putting bids on it and I bought it for £500, I have my doubts. Do you want to come along and film the adventure? Because if it all goes well, it's an adventure, and if it breaks down at the side of the road, it's definitely a good video. And he went yes, and kind of from there we became very good mates. And for the next, I think, 3 years, basically everything that appeared on JM on Cars, I had either filmed or put some hand in. And then he disappeared off to America, which I was hugely annoyed about, leaving me in charge of the channel for 2 weeks. So I started producing my own videos and my own take on things, like looking into the shed at the stuff I was working on, and kind of reviewing the type of car and vehicle I was interested in, which I think ended up with Lawrie. He's JM on Cars, so I was Lozza on rollers. I've reviewed a little grass roller thing. And it very quickly became apparent that the kind of people who enjoy JM's content of cars and supercars weren't necessarily the type of people who enjoyed a review on a road roller. And so we went back to him making content, but I kind of got the bug. I'd realised that I don't really want to be behind the camera. I wanted to be in front of it and making content. So we trialled for, I think, 2 months, Lawrie Thursdays, in which I put out a video a week. But they didn't really do very well because, again, the wrong demographic, shall we say. And so JM, in no uncertain terms, suggested that I should move and start afresh on my own channel, by which I mean he created my own channel and told me that's where I was working now. And we separated, and that was so we had a conversation on his channel talking about Lawrie was going to go his own way, and held a competition for what the name should be. And out of all the suggestions, Lawrie's Mechanical Marvels was the one which we kind of tickled our fancy the most, and so thus LMM became a thing. And since then it's been it's been a thing.
Well, it's a very good thing. Speaking myself as a fan and a patron, I discovered your videos because it was when the abandoned Blazer video kind of went a bit viral, for need of better words.
Oh yeah,
and
that was fun.
And it appeared on my thing. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Click, watch the video. Quite enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, and didn't really think anything of it. And then a little bit later, YouTube doing its YouTube ways, it suggested to me the collecting my full-size Ruston locomotive.
Yes.
I clicked,
good times.
And I clicked that and I went, oh, it's the same guy from that other video. And it was that video that kind of went, ooh, I like this. I want to see more of this. And it was a bit later where I subscribed to a channel, and then pandemic hit, and I think it was during one of your live streams I kind of went, you know what, I am going to patronize you because you are worth it. And that's kind of where that's where I sort of started being a patron. I joined the Discord, and well, here we are now. And one of the things I really like about your channel as a whole is a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Top Gear," and it's like, well, it kind of is. You've got that sort of a bit of the camaraderie, the companionship of Top Gear, but you also got a lot of honesty in your videos. I know one or two things may be reshot for video purposes, but you exude a sort of energy, this honesty, and when things happen, so say for example, if a car breaks down on Top Gear, and you think, oh no, they might be stuck, but you know that they've got a support van. Whereas you guys, if you're out in the middle of bugger all Scotland and your radiator goes and it's like, the car's spewing steam in the middle of the road, well, bugger me, I have to deal with this myself out of my own pocket.
It is. I mean, it is. Some people have compared to Top Gear and said, "Oh, it's better than the new Top Gear," which we take to be a humongous compliment. But we're basically Top Gear without a budget. That's kind of the best way we can look at it. If we had a budget, we may be more Top Gear because to be able to afford stuff. And when stuff goes wrong, well, it's prime content because we have to pay to fix it, and there isn't any support. Morgan's BMW breaking in Scotland was awful. I mean, that broke. I think we were 2 hours away from Fort William, and possibly 2 hours away from Stirling. I mean, amazingly, which I will never quite understand how it all worked. We pulled over in a car park because Matt's MR2 had an alternator which just kept disconnecting. So he'd lost his power. We pulled over in this car park, the only car park on this road, I will stress, that we saw, and cable tied it up, made a cup of coffee, and we got maybe 100 yards out of this car park before Morgan's radiator exploded. So he wasn't, apart from the fact that he died on a blind hill, so that in order to go past him, traffic was having to go round him over a crest into oncoming traffic. So it was a very much a right, throw high visors on, stand in the middle of the road, stop the traffic, and just roll your car down. Watch me, just do as I say. Just put on the high vis, stand in the road, Morgan, just free wheel back. I'm standing in the road, traffic can't come. Matt, you stand down there and just roll down to the bottom, because otherwise you're going to kill somebody. So that was the worst thing about that. And then my little 106 managed to drag it uphill, and we parked in the car park. And it was then worked out what the problem was. I went, oh yeah, we can go buy the parts for this, and went and got the parts. Tried to fit them. Morgan got very annoyed and ended up breaking the parts. Now, I will just, before we go any further, before this trip happened, we knew this was quite an ask for our daily cars. My kind of darling little 106, my Matt's MR2, and Morgan's BMW. Now, we knew it was a two-order. So before we went, I said to Morgan, have you got breakdown cover? He went, no, my Beamer's never let me down in 30,000 miles. I don't need breakdown cover. Yes, Morgan, I've done 100,000 miles in the 106 and it's always got me home. But I still have breakdown cover. Oh, Matt went to him. Mate, do you have breakdown cover? No, I've done 30,000 miles in the Beamer. It's never let me down. Okay, I've got breakdown cover. And even Trev, who wasn't coming, went, you probably want breakdown cover. So, lo and behold, when the car went down, Morgan did not have breakdown cover. So we had to phone the AA and say, hey, I'm thinking of going on a trip tomorrow. Can I have some cover, please? And they went, sure. Which then meant that it was getting dark and we had, I think, 6 hours to travel to get to our accommodation on the Isle of Skye. That we then had to drive up there, have a day out on the Isle of Skye to allow the 24 hours of cooling off to go away, to then drive all the way back down, deposit him by his car for the AA to turn up, drive him back to Stirling to get a hire car, and then do the 8 hours back up to Skye, where we were meant to be leaving early in the morning to go across to film some railway stuff, me and Matt. And so it pushed the entire holiday into, well, not holiday, filming trip, because we were doing, we did the Reliant, a couple of railways, and we did several things on that trip, 4 or 5, 6 videos, I think, after the initial trip. And it put it all to being that we were overtired for the whole lot, because there was none of that support network. So, yeah, it was good times. I mean, looking back on it now, hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and it has become the just always ribbing for Morgan was, we'll talk about things. You go, oh well, your 106 broke down twice. It's like, well, yes, it did, but the nice AA man made it live again, and it drove home. Yours went home on the back of the truck. And all credit to Morgan. Once he got it home, he did actually fix it himself. He got the proper OEM parts, and managed to get the car running. And the car, in fact, was running before I'd got the 106 back to full health. But still, the point remains that he, yes.
So,
was,
you mentioned that you did other filming bits when you're out and about in that particular time. Is it always when you're off somewhere? Do you always have like 2 or 3 things planned out? You got multiple shoots lined up for any sort of trip that you're doing?
more often than not, it makes sense for monetary reasons. If we paid the money to travel somewhere, that we might as well stay a bit longer and film stuff in that area. I think we'd had several offers of things to do in that area and kind of gone, while we're up in here, we might as well do X, Y, Z and tick these things off that we've been offered while we're in the area. And so sometimes, yes, it very much depends on what the trip is and where we're hoping to go. But Scotland being relatively far away from us, it made sense to try and combine them. If we can at all, when we're going places, we try to do multiple things in one location. So if we visit to a railway, we quite like to film 3 or 4 reviews there, so stay for 3-4 days, or go to a collection of vehicles and stay there for a few days to try and maximize our time and be more efficient with it. So sometimes it works, and sometimes things will go and conspire against you and it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and obviously, comparing yourself to to JM on Cars, he's only got 208,000 subscribers, but you've got 50,000 subscribers. That's where the real numbers are at. Do you get many? I was going to say railways, but you've also got the car enthusiasts. Do you get a lot of people contacting you saying, "Hey, do you want to come review our locomotive, our car?" Or do you still have to send out what I call speculative emails, as in, "Hi, would really like to talk to you, or would like to do this thing"? Do you do a lot of that, or is it still like? Yeah.
It's about 50-50. I think at the moment we get a lot of people coming saying, "Hey, do you want to drive this?" or "Hey, do you want to do this?" or "Do you want to come visit this or that or this?" And then I also send out a lot of stuff being like, "Hi, I really want to do something with this, particularly with railways. Hi, I'd quite like to be able to drive this. How about it?" So we're getting better known that people are contacting us. At least if I reach out to somewhere, I think today there's a much better chance of that person knowing who I am. When we started, we were sending out emails and people were like, "You want to come and drive a train?" No. Whereas now it's more likely I sent an email off, people are, "Oh yeah, I know who you are," or "Oh, someone in us, I mentioned it to other people, and some people knew who you were." So it makes it a lot easier moving forward in that regard. And I go to Heritage Railways, and people come up to me and go, "Oh, you're Lawrie, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, I really enjoy the channel." "Oh, that's great, thank you." And I had a couple of gentlemen came up to me Monday when I was at the East Anglian Rail Museum, and they were from the Netherlands, and they're like, "You're Lawrie, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I mean, to a degree, I mean, the same with you, I suppose. The concept that people in the UK watch my channel, watch our channel, I guess, is understandable to a degree. That sounds very big-headed, but I can kind of understand people in the UK watching our channel.
Yeah.
When you have people in a wider worldwide audience watching our channel, I just can't process that. The fact that there are people in the Netherlands, in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, the Philippines, Europe, just generally, Italy. I just sit there going, "What?
Well, how did I end up? Yeah.
Then when we do live streams and stuff, we get comments on people going, "Oh, hello from Texas," and "Hello from this," and "Hello," and that. And I'm like, what's going on? I can't quite process this. There's people all over the world watching what we do. And at the end of the day, we are quite clearly idiots. And and maybe entertaining idiots, but quite clearly idiots. And the fact that so many people are investing their time, and like yourself are investing their money as well into us, is just the most incredible thing. And it's we just cannot fathom it. We just cannot process that at all. We just sit there going, huh.
I think the one for me, which I would be, if I was in your position, I'd be like, wait, I can't believe I did this, is you got to drive Dolgok on the Telephone Railway.
Oh, yes.
And it's
What a
like,
thing.
what? That is like, the holy grail of railway preservation. And it's like, what? You got to drive, it's so
They weren't that
incredible.
big either. That's the thing. That was an email to them being like, hey, cheeky ask, I don't suppose we could do something. And they came back and went, oh yeah, no, we've been watching your channel. What do you want to drive? And I'm like, Dolgok? And they're like, well, we can make that happen. I'm like, okay then. Expecting not to hear something. And then they came back and said, how about these dates? So it was over Valentine's Day, I think, a couple of 3 years ago. But just going to Talaclyn is something special. For those of you who don't know, in railway circles, in preservation, the Talaclyn Railway in Wales is the first preserved railway. It was the first railway to be bought by enthusiasts and to be operated by enthusiasts. And the success of the Talaclyn kind of opened up the idea that enthusiasts could run and operate a railway. If Talaclyn had folded, then the railway heritage in the UK certainly would look very different, because people would have looked at it and gone, look at those idiots, can't run a railway. Whereas there was such charm to it, and seeing these people do it, other people wanted to emulate that. And there were other early preservation societies like the Bluebell Railway and the Middleton Railway. But certainly the success of Talaclyn opened the doors to more people going, we could do this. And Dolgok, well, there were two engines that worked the Talaclyn. There was Talaclyn and Dolgok. And Talaclyn was completely knackered and was out of service. And for the first few years, Dolgok limped through. And the stories that I won't repeat from what I know, but Dolgok really should not have limped through those years. It's a miracle that it survived as long as it did for the railway to be able to secure numbers 3 and 4 from the nearby Corris Railway. But if Dolgok had failed in those early days, the railway would have folded. And so much of what I do and so much of what I enjoy is directly responsible to that engine. That engine is the direct cause. That engine, to a degree, is the direct cause of me owning my own locomotive. It has so much to answer for, and so much money has been spent in the UK because of that engine. It's got an awful lot to answer for, and to have got to drive it, this ground zero, this almost mecca, to be said, yeah, you can go out and have a go on it. It was beyond words to be able to sit on this thing, and there's a kind of almost an aura to it. You sit down on it and you feel that significance, you feel that history, that legacy in it. And it's just the most fascinating and intoxicating feeling that you realize what it is and how important it is to so many people. And it was amazing. And I look back on that video and just watching, I'm like, I can't believe I got to do that. So, and I'm hoping when Talaclyn comes back, we've been talking about, hopefully I'll get to go and do Talaclyn as well. And
Amazing.
that's very exciting. So I've also I've done one of the other Talaclyn engines, which I haven't released the video for, but I'm slightly working my way through the fleet, and it's just of course, it is strongly tied into the Thomas the Tank Engine series. That they are based on that railway, and so much of my childhood is based on those stories and listening to those stories, and to kind of like be driving what they're based on. It's going. I'm driving my childhood.
Rheneas, wasn't it?
That's
Yes, Rheneas. And then it was Rheneas and Scaloe. Long time, but yeah. But because some of the
forget, do you?
No, you can't.
They stay.
Because if anyone's sort of interested in a slightly romanticised sort of telling of the Talaclyn's early days, it is in one of the Reverend Audrey's books. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it is one of the books, and it talks about how it was in the early days and how it literally was just Rheneas.
And it is basically word for word history, with Talaclyn replaced by Scarlowy.
Yeah.
It's basically the history. I mean, if you read those stories and went to the railway, you'd basically understand the history. There are certain things that have been changed, but it is, as you say, slightly romanticized. But it's what I really used to enjoy about Thomas the Tank Engine when I grew older, was the knowledge that the railway series were all based on real railway events. You know, the things were changed and made work for the stories, but they were all based on stuff that the Reverend had heard or read about. And it had its basis in the real railway. And which is why I hate what it's become in this stupid
Yeah,
nonsense.
it's not particularly go down that way, because my opinions of it are exactly the same as yours, and I don't think we need to yet further muddy the waters with yet more people ranting about Thomas the Tank Engine and what a state it has become, because good gracious.
I'm going to go on to one point of it. One of the railways that I volunteer at, so I won't go any further than that, we have a converted Thomas. And part of you have to be inspected by the owners of Thomas, who I think are Mattel. And they came down and inspected it, and we had to repaint it because it was the wrong shade of blue.
What? Oh my god!
Mm. Yeah.
The wrong shade. How can you have it? It's just blue. Oh my god!
Yeah, you can. You wouldn't believe it. I mean, the fact that I mean, and this is what annoys me, because if you actually look at the thing, it looks nothing like Thomas. Like it is blue and it has 6 wheels, and that's about where the similarities end.
Oh wow! And I'm sorry, I'm just taken back. But it was the wrong shade of blue. No, you cannot have it. What? But it's still blue. And
Nope, no, it genuinely was, and you sit there going, okay, then. I mean, in the we're on a rant now. In Japan, they have a Thomas replica. It's a 462. So for those of you who don't know, that means it's got 4 little wheels at the front, 6 big driving wheels, and 2 little trailing wheels under the cab. It is a large engine, and like, how did you allow that to happen? But you complain we're the wrong blue. But
that's just. Oh, that's just.
I think we went on a tangent.
It's fine. Little tangents are fine. The book, because it actually took me time to actually find out. It's Gallant Old Engine is the book and the story.
I knew it was something old engines, but I would never have been able to tell you that much.
It was Gallant Old Engine. It took me a little moment to find it. So, to sort of move a little bit on from the wee blue one, when you are out and you are filming, how long would you say on average it takes you to record a video? Because your videos tend to be somewhere in the 20-minute mark to sort of half an hour, but how many hours of footage did that take?
I mean, I suppose it depends somewhat on what the video is. There are videos we do. I don't know if recently I made a terrible mistake and bought a MGTF that was supplied with a very dodgy MOT, and that video was maybe 2 hours to shoot in its entirety. And then we go to What's Broken Now, which is made up of footage that we've shot over basically that month. So it varies. A general day shoot for us is an entire day. We start 8 or 9 and we finish 6, 5, 6, 7, depending on how the day has gone. And so that they are certainly long days, especially to get everything kind of we wanted to try to do it in the best possible way. Because a lot of these things, if we're driving a car or if I'm driving a locomotive, I need to make an opinion of it. And so there's everything we do, like talking about the history, actually getting the nice shots of it, filming it nicely. But before that, I've had to go and meet people, chat to people, try and put people's minds at ease that I'm not this idiot from the internet and I've got some idea what I'm doing. Then actually take the thing out and make some kind of opinion on what it's like to be able to talk about it. So my initial reaction to anything getting on is, well, hey, this is awesome. I'm loving this. Woo! And then after a few minutes, I've got to try and be kind of subjective about it and go, well, how is this compared to anything else? And what do I actually think about this? And it's a challenge, but yeah, it's basically a day shoot. For anything we do is normally a day shoot.
It makes it a full day.
Oh yeah.
And so, how many days in a week are you actually producing your content? Is it every single day you're filming, or is it just you film some days, or does it literally just depend on the week? Because I know 1 or 2 people, it's pretty much a every single day job. They are focusing, they're editing, they're trying to get new stuff recorded and such. How is it for your particular workflow?
If I'm not filming, I'm editing. That's basically it. I do the odd day here and there of just labouring to get enough money to continue, because YouTube doesn't pay the bills enough yet, so I have to go out and work still, which is very much part time, maybe 1 or 2 days a week, if that. And the rest of my life is just sat either by a computer editing stuff, or sat by a computer organising stuff, or in the shed trying to fix something, or out filming. I think I last had time off last October, where I went away for a week because I was just completely burnt out. But apart from that, yeah, it's just
A
all the
constant
time.
stream. Because
Yeah,
some people think it's just like, oh, it must be so easy. Just go film a couple of things, edit it up, and oh, look, it's easy money on YouTube. And it's like, no, 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 it's not.
no, it's one I wouldn't change it for the world, because I'm loving it. I love the opportunities that it's presented. I love the fact that I get to go and see places. I get to be involved with places. I get to drive things. I get to share people's enthusiasm. I really, really enjoy it. Even things. We've done some bus content, and I have no knowledge of buses, but I enjoy being around people who are enthusiastic about their subject, and I get hyped up and share that enthusiasm and get excited by it. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm really grateful to becoming kind of, a couple of people called me a new face of preservation, and I'm really enjoying that angle and the idea that I can help represent heritage and preservation, and I really, really like that. But you're right. Every person who goes, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber," or "I want to do this," I'm like, you really, really do not want to do this. It's an awful amount of work. I mean, certainly there's different levels of it. If you became, say, a YouTuber who plays video games, that's a lot easier to do than trying to travel out to go film something, organize it, put it all together. Where you could just go, "Oh, I'm streaming today. Stream, stream, stream."
Click, yeah.
Um, so there are easier things, and certainly there are easier videos to do and easier subjects to cover. Even like JM, he's got a certain formula which he can just go, right, I go do done, and he just applies that to any vehicle he does, and he doesn't really go outside of that.
Yeah.
Whereas we have formula, but then we have so many different series that I made bad decisions with the amount of stuff that we cover on this channel.
Because you've got LMM drives, What's Broken Now, Lawrie Goes Loco, Lawrie Goes a Little Loco.
And soon to be Lawrie Goes oh god, what am I going to call it? Lawrie Goes a Model Loco, soon to come out.
Chasing Dinosaurs,
Yep.
which has no dinosaurs in it, 0 out of 10. Joke. What else? I'm trying to think of all the sort of ones you've got, but they're the ones that leap out to my mind. Is that just you just want to cover all the different sort of aspects of what you love, or was there any sort of real plans with like for example, Chasing Dinosaurs?
Chasing Dinosaurs came about because I wanted to start going outside and going to galas and stuff, because I've missed going because I've been busy on other stuff. And so that came about that. I think, to my mind, originally I wanted to just do railway content and to do like railway reviews, but I was very aware that I wasn't going to be able to just walk in and do it, so I had to build up that channel, and there wasn't really enough options. And also, I've got this fleet of vehicles. I've been collecting this fleet of vehicles, and we wanted to showcase working on that, so that made sense to cover that. And then we quite like showcase it's all stuff that I'm enthusiastic about and I want to showcase. I think that's where it came from. It's just wanting to share my love of machinery and obscure vehicles and the stuff that I'm interested in, and a lot of the stuff which gets overlooked. I mean, it upsets me to quite a degree, the amount of people that will ignore you when you're driving down the road in a interesting or old car, who just don't look up and interested. And it fills me with joy, like when I was driving my Reliant around, particularly young kids who would kind of see this thing going past and be like, there was this one young kid, young lad who must have been 7 or 8, and as I went past, he mouthed, "What was that?" And I was like, "That's my day, mate. That's wonderful." And I love that, but I'm amazed at how few people look up when you're driving something old and obscure. And I realise that sounds kind of egotistical. I want people to look at me, but I would always, if I saw an interesting vehicle or something that was odd, something that I wasn't expecting to see there, that was what always interests me. You see an old car going, "Well, I'm not expecting to see a car that's old." that looks totally different and weird. And the amount of people who don't do that today is a little scary, because and just shows how different people are. But I wanted to kind of just to cover those things that people ignore and don't really pay enough attention to. Hey, look at this wonderful stuff. And I mean, the whole idea of the channel really was to try and encourage people to say, look, if we can do this kind of stuff, we can be involved, we can fix stuff, we can drive stuff, we can show stuff, and to say, kind of, you can too. It's very daunting to get involved in a lot of these things, but it's all very accessible, and a lot of older things to work on are, you can attack it with a spanner. And kind of having the confidence to get in there and get involved, either with a group or your own projects or whatever, or finding finding similar people, finding, because I mean, to a degree, I am very, very lucky to have met the people that I have surrounding me who are into this, who share my passion, or to a degree share some of my passions, but are willing to do these things, to film stuff, to get involved with these things, to go and to become part of it, and go on adventures and buy vehicles. And it makes such a difference having friends you can talk to about having projects, the problems you've had, how things are going. And yeah, I feel very lucky, and I feel very privileged, certainly, to have these people around, because I can understand that I would not be anywhere near. Well, I wouldn't be anywhere if I didn't have the support of like Matt and the others who help out. Um,
The
so yeah,
others, I know exactly who, and they're gonna go. Oh, he's referred to us as the others again.
yeah, yes, there will. There will. One. I'm trying to come up with a name for the hangers on. Which is another term they don't like. I'm trying to think of like a collective team name, because LMM is basically me and Matt, and then there's the other chaps who give their time and effort to help out, to in a variety of ways, creating creating music and stuff from our tame music project maker Alex the Hat. You know, there's lots of them, but I need a term, and I don't really have a term that's kind of,
It kind of encompasses them
yeah,
all, yeah.
yeah.
And
I
also,
don't want to be insulting.
I will say that Alex Hatt's music is very, very good, because he's done the music for my podcast. So yes, I know very
Once he
much
gets
his.
everywhere, I thought I had exclusivity on him.
And one of the things I will say that I am very, very surprised with, and one of the things that's kind of I really adore about yourself and the channel, is the community that you've built up.
Yeah, it's
And
mad, isn't it?
yeah, it's just insane, because they're all such a nice bunch of folks, and in the time that I have been been on part of the Discord, I've made loads of new friends, and it's like, it's just like, because they're all such nice, wonderful people, as people in this Discord, because everyone just seems to have the same sort of mindset, and they all sort of support each other, and and they support yourself, but they also help support each other. So even with my little endeavors, I've only got 700 subscribers. Even then, Alex the Hat helped make music. Oh yes, I commissioned him, I gave him money, but still, he helped give music. I've had tips from other people. It's right. The community that you've built up is just incredible.
It is. It's absolutely phenomenal. We are so insanely grateful to everyone who's become part of it and helped make it this really cool place. And the people who have given support, and exactly what you said, friendship. There's so many people I've talked to who have met friends and made friendships, and I know there's groups of people who have met up and actually become friends in real life through this, and I find that absolutely fantastic. And when we started, again, one of the other things we were like, if we can make like one person's life better with our videos, then we've done a good thing here. And the fact that, without sounding again too egotistical, the fact that we've made people's lives better by giving them new friends and giving them a sense of community is just the best thing ever. I had a lovely letter come through from somebody who said that the videos had made them get in contact with their granddad again. They hadn't had contact with them for years, but the videos kind of reminded them what they used to do, and they re-established communication. So, and I'm like, oh, God, well, everything's worthwhile then. It's and I mean, to be a channel of this size and have a community where there are very little, or very few problems. I mean, the amount of negative comments we get are very small. I remember when JM was this size, yeah, he was getting a fair amount of comments attacking him and attacking things that he did. Whereas most of the time, people are just nice, and we're sat there going, "What's happened here? The internet's not meant to be like this. The internet's meant to be very mean, and people are meant to be horrible. Well, what's going on?" I
Because
mean, we get the
yeah,
odd thing, but it's magnificent. So, to any of our community who do happen to be listening, you guys are awesome. Thank you for making this place so much better for everybody. And thank you for being the best parts of humanity and restoring my faith in humanity a little bit, and for supporting us. Like, we're amazed. You guys are just incredible. No, I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but if it wasn't for the community and all the lovely people there who support us and watch the videos and get involved and come along on the Discord and chat to us, there wouldn't be any LMM. What we do would be completely pointless. It's all completely reliant on people enjoying it and getting involved. And I get messages of people going, "Oh, do you mind if I talk to you or I message you?" And I'm like, well, no, of course not. That's why I'm here, is to interact with you guys and to chat. If I'm not going to talk to you, what's the point in doing all of this? Like, you've made the effort to talk to me. The least I can do is acknowledge your presence.
no, exactly, yeah. And I said, I've been so grateful to the LMM Discord over the past year and a bit, because they have been there when I've kind of really needed to, people just to talk to, just to get my mind off the things in the world and the thing that was going on. And I myself will be eternally grateful for yourself and the Discord community, because you and everyone else helped me through a really, really rough year. And I'm not trying to blow your trumpet, but I'm just saying it's just amazing how, one guy with an eclectic collection of vehicles can actually have this really supportive, really welcoming community built up around it. It's just mad.
You've hit the nail on the head there. We can't understand it either. We have absolutely no understanding of how this happened. We're just so grateful and so very honoured to have it. But I chatted to JM, like, a channel that's far bigger than ours and has a far greater reach than ours, doesn't have a community anywhere near as good as this. And it's just it's one of those things. I think every time I try to comprehend the community or the size of the channel or any of it, I just can't. I just cannot process it. It's error.
Lawrie.exe has failed, yes.
Yeah, it is. It's what is it? 303. It's not found. It's just
404 is not found.
404. Sorry, that's it. That's how good I am with the computers.
So,
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's genuinely, absolutely fascinating. I don't know how we've done it or how it's happened, but we're very, very, very grateful for it. It's great.
and I'm guessing when you've got some, the bad days and your computer's not working and all that, it must be quite reassuring to know that you've got this community behind you to be able to support you as well.
Oh yeah, certainly. It's really good, especially when quite frequently I'll put a message up in the Discord and be like, "Hey, I haven't got the video out. Sorry." And there'll be people going, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay," and stuff. And it's always nice to know that people aren't, or people take the piss, which is fair enough. We're at that stage now where people just take the piss out and you go, "Oh, all right then." Um, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that you just sit back and think, it's really nice. Well, I know nice is a terrible nondescript word, but it's genuinely nice to sit back there and go, there's a load of people out there who are having a good time and enjoying what we do and getting on with people and just discussing stuff that I enjoy. That's really good.
That is
It's
really good.
really good.
So looking ahead onto the future, I know, just because I said I'm part of the Discord and that over the last sort of 6 to 12 months roughly, you have been filming pretty much non-stop. You have been out
Oh
just
yeah.
constantly filming. How many okay, how many videos is a bit tricky, but how many sort of months worth of content have you now sort of built up?
Well, we were over the was it the first lockdown or over the I think the first lockdown we ate up basically all of our back catalogue, and we were having a discussion on Discord, being like, right, there's rumours lockdown's going to end, and we really need it to end because we are basically out of content. Like, if it doesn't end, we need to come up with some new ideas, and we'd been coming up with stuff during lockdown, during the streams. Lawrie goes a little loco and things happened, and we're like, this is quite bad. So we then went out and shot quite a bit, and then there was the next lockdown. And so when everything kind of cleared up, the channel had grown a fair bit through lockdown, and I was inundated with people saying, "Do you want to come do this? Do you want to come do this?" And I kind of just said yes. So an awful lot of what was offered, we went and shot, and which because we were so worried about there being another lockdown that we wanted to have enough content to be able to be confident with. And I was kind of thinking there probably would be another lockdown. And I was thinking, well, I've got all this footage and I can just sit down through lockdown and edit it all and it's going to be great. And then there wasn't another lockdown. So to date, realistically, I don't think I would need to go and film for a year,
Wow.
releasing 2 videos a week.
That's
So
it. That's
yeah,
that's really good going. That is really good going. I know you still have to edit it all, and if you're anything like me, it's just like, oh god, editing.
yeah.
But
I really enjoy editing when it's done. I really enjoy sitting back and going, it's done. I dislike the rest of the process.
hearing yourself say the same thing again and again
Yeah.
and again, yeah, yeah, it's
I don't know why anybody watches me. I'm like, I despise it. I sit there going, God, this idiot goes on. He doesn't have to talk, doesn't he? Oh, that was a good bit. Yeah, all right. The rest of it's rubbish.
but after it's done, you're like, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, it's one of those sort of weird
I don't
things
know
when
being happy. I'm one of these people who kind of looks back on what I've done, and most often than not, it's the time that's meant it's got to go. So, a lack of a better word, that's good enough. But I'm one of these people who looks back on the video, and every time I watch back any video I've done, I cringing on, oh, I could have done that better. Oh, I could have done that better. Oh, that cut's wrong. Oh, I don't like how that shot came out. Oh,
same.
I don't think there's a single video in the LMM catalogue that I'm actually happy with. I don't think there's anything that I
Not a
wouldn't, if
single
I had to.
one. Not one. You can go, I'm really proud of that.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, I'm proud of them, but
Hmm.
I don't think there's anything in it that I'd go back that I wouldn't go back and change some part of it, re-edit part of it, or in most of cases reshoot parts of it.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm making compromises from what my original artistic idea was behind it, and there's always, I want that extra shot, I wanted that extra thing, I wanted that extra thing that I said. I didn't, the camera vibrated too much here, or the sound wasn't perfect there, or I don't think there's anything. I think we've done like 200 videos now. I don't think there's one that I'd go that I watch back and go, oh yeah, no, that's really good. We did a good job there. Everything I'm like, yeah, it's okay, but we could have done this, or and frequently things go wrong, or it's like, oh, we were pushing the light there, or oh, I had to make the decision to do X rather than Y, and oh, I really should have done Y. So yeah, I think I'm always wanting to do better, and I know Matt's the same. Matt's always wanted to push what we can do, and frankly, at the moment, it's our biggest problem is the fact that because we're on such a limited budget, everything's always a rush. So if we're driving somewhere, we have to go, get up, drive there, set up, film everything, and then drive back the same day. Because Matt will have to go back to work. I'll need to get on with things, and we can't afford that time. If we had what we've been talking about is to have the time to be able to go somewhere, say to a railway, and spend 2 days shooting one thing, so you can do a really good job of it and really think about everything you need to do and make sure you've got everything and everything's to the best quality that we can do. I mean, then you hit against things like the limit of our equipment. Like my camera's 4 and a bit years old now, and we're really pushing what that camera can do now. It's an old camera. The sound equipment we use is kind of like the high end of amateur, but really we could do with moving up to the next stage, but it's very expensive. And ideally, we could do with a sound operator coming with us to make sure that everything's okay during the field. Because as it's only ever a 2-man team, occasionally we have a couple of extra guys to help with extra shots, but there's never that ability to check what you're doing. It's all, we hope we set everything right.
It's shoot
we
and
hope the
hope,
sound's
yeah.
fine. And it'd be so nice to move to a production where you had somebody there listening to the sound say, actually, there was wind noise there, or something's gone really weird with your microphone. Hold on, let's have a look. Rather than to get home and go, oh no,
Oh
what do I
no.
do? We had the trip when we went to Scotland, one of the sound recorders just packed up and put itself onto just absolute garbage quality. This, you spent all this money, all this time, and one sound recorder that's got half the video's sound on it sounds like it's coming through a telephone from the 1970s. And you just sit there going, I don't know how to deal with this. This is so much effort, so much time, and it's ruined. But it's heartbreaking.
Well, I was going to say that because it was Matt's audio, if the ADR is anything to be believed, and that must have been absolutely heartbreaking to go back and find that it's all screwed up, and it must be really demoralizing as well.
Hugely.
Because here in this in my setup, I always do a bit of a check, just make sure everything's okay before I start. In your case, sometimes you've only really got one chance. You've only got so much light. So to do all that, and be really satisfied with the day, and then come back home, and then later you click it, and you're like, wait, what? Why can't I hear? Oh
Yep.
no.
Yeah, or occasionally there'll be a thing like, oh, for some reason we thought we were recording with the sound recorder, but it's turned itself off, or you've sat on it, you didn't put it onto lock and you've sat on it, it's stopped. It's hugely demoralizing to try and go, because we're striving so hard to make good quality programs. It's beyond trying to make YouTube most of the time. It's trying to make a documentary, a good quality program. And so often, because we're rushing to get everything done, there are mistakes that are made, and it's very demoralizing. Because again, with you with the studio setup, you can check everything, make sure everything's working beforehand. We don't have the luxury to do a test recording, plug it into a field computer, listen back, and go, that sounds fine.
No, you just haven't got the time. No.
No. And recently, one of the mics packed up, and luckily I noticed it because I was doing voiceovers for a video, and I was like, oh, I'm getting rattles on this, and kind of wiggled it and went, oh yeah, that's just the cable's gone, so that's that mic gone. But if that'd gone on a shoot, that's it gone. That's that shoot.
That must be just sort of I know it might be a very hard question to answer, but have you had to throw away an entire shoot because of a technical difficulty?
There's one currently that's sat, and I need to go and do reshoots. Not because of a technical problem of the equipment, more it's at a railway with a locomotive, and just without giving away too many details, they aren't happy with something, a way that I've talked about boiler tickets, and the way they aren't happy the way that I phrased it. And then I'm sat on a part of the locomotive, and they're not happy with me being sat there because it's a health and safety risk. And so they went, "Oh, we want you to cut that out." I'm like, "But that's 5 minutes of the history. I can't cut that out, and I can't rephrase the significance of the boiler ticket with what I've got. I need to come and refilm that." So I can do it, but I need to come and film it again. And it's a railway that's about 4 and a bit hours away from home.
Just a short
And
trek.
it's been to go back and finish off the video. And I'm sat there going, well, I need to come and do it. And it's been kind of going back and forth since September. And now the locomotive in question's gone in for overhaul. And so it's okay, yeah. So I can't do anything with it. And so for my point of view, That's a completely wasted trip. That's money,
Oh,
realistically, money, hotel, filming costs, food. It's, I don't know, £200-300 of money that I can't afford to spend, which has now disappeared. And it doesn't help the relationship when they go, "Well, where's the video?" I'm like, "Well, you weren't happy
but
with
you
these
have.
things, so I
Oh,
can't fix
yeah.
them."
The
So yeah,
that again, I can understand that was deeply frustrating. Speaking of a mishap, which is a bit more humorous, I got remember because you mentioned the Corris Railway. On your 360-degree cab ride on that, your drone has a little whoops.
oh, that's so beautiful, isn't it? So beautiful. Well, over there you can see Matt's drone. No, Matt. No, Matt. Oh, that you don't appreciate in the video how high that tree was, because I went, "That's not bad. There's a ladder there. We'll get it." And then as I got closer, I realised that the land drops quite steeply away, and the tree was about 3 times taller than I envisioned it being. It's very embarrassing as well when you've had a good day at the railway and everything apart from that had gone well, and to then have to kind of be like, "Can we borrow a ladder, please? Because I need to go and recover the drone from a tree." So if memory serves, it was ladder at full extension, then kind of clambered up onto the tree itself. Then I'd got the long selfie stick attached to the tripod, and at full reach of the tripod extended with the neck out of the tripod and the legs extended with the selfie stick at max extension, I was able to poke it and get the drone
Oh,
out of the tree.
wow. That's oh dear.
Just sitting dark in Wales thinking, I want to be at home.
And then you're there
That
poking
was,
a drone out of a tree.
yeah,
And
thinking I managed to actually, can't remember how I did it, but I managed to, because I was thinking, well, if I just knock it and it falls out the tree, it's going to be destroyed. But I managed to somehow hook it onto the tripod. It just swung down into my hands, and I'm like, how have I done this? I don't understand. I was expecting this to fall and smash into 1,000 pieces, but there we go. Oh, it had landing legs. That's what I did. I managed to put the selfie stick through the landing
oh,
rung,
right, okay.
and it just rattled down.
And I've noticed in some of your more recent videos, like the Stackfold Model Railway show, you had some really, really nice drone shots. Inside,
Yes,
and that I would have been terrified of hitting anything with
yes, so
that.
was I. I recently purchased a Mavic Mini, which is under 250 kg, which opens you up to a whole host of stuff that you can do legally that you can't do with a bigger drone, which involves flying it in residential areas and being able to fly within 50 meters of a person, um, providing you've got permission. But it means that with that, I was able to get some of my guys to go inside and be like, right, let's make sure everyone's out of the way, or at least they know what's going on. And it's so small and light. I'm like, I'll probably be okay. And yeah, that was a really nice shot. I'm really happy with how that turned up. But it's a really really useful tool for being able to fly it about. And for something so small, I cannot believe how stable it is. I've done all kinds of shots with it, and I'm a bit like, it's far too windy for this to work. And you fly it about and go, ah, this works. There's there's a shot that will be coming out in a video in, I don't know, 6 months, a year, something like that, whenever I get around to editing it. And I'm following a vehicle, and I'm thinking, God, the drone's flying well. Like, I'm pacing this vehicle, and the controller's going, wah, high winds, return, high winds, unable to automatically return. So, oh, shut up, it's fine. And I got to the edge of the range, which is about 2 kilometers, and finished the shot. So I was like, this is brilliant. Turned around to come back, and it's just hovering. I'm like, I have made a critical error here. And as it's just, no, oh, come on. So I put it into sports mode, and it gradually makes progress. And I'd flown over some power cables. It's quite high. I was well clear of them. But I'm like, I need to get down low, but I need to be able to get over these power cables to drop it low enough to drop out the wind to fly it back. And I've been just looking at these power cables beneath me as they kind of come past at like a centimeter every couple of few seconds, going, come on, come on, please come on. And that was. I mean, yeah, I could have just put it down there and driven up to where I landed it, and it wasn't a huge problem. But it's kind of the principle of I wanted to bring it back. And by the time I caught up with the vehicle, they, what happened to you? And I was like, it's windy up there. The drone decided it was quite happy where it was.
The drone said no and stayed still.
Pretty much. I'm very scared. I've flown it. There's a video that will be coming out probably this week on the channel as we're recording. I flew the drone out over the sea to get some shots.
Oh, no.
And it's the terrifying factor of when you're thinking, if I lose it here, I can't just land it. And did you know seagulls really don't like drones?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Seagulls do not like drones, and so I'm flying it. Right. What was that I just saw on my screen? Spin around and like, oh, that seagull's very close. Oh, that seagull's dive bombing. Time to move. And so Spike came flying back towards me, and I had Charles, and Charles was with me as my spotter. As it comes back into sight, he's like, "Oh, there's an awful lot of seagulls following your drone." This drone just flies across, and like 5 seagulls all chasing him. Oh, this is unpleasant.
Oh my goodness!
And just trying to do manoeuvres enough to kind of lose the seagulls and bring it down safely. Going, oh. No, I was in Scotland doing a shot and had the same thing, trying to get a shot of the Forth Bridge. And I'm flying up the 4th, and there's several seagulls beneath the drone, and I watch them as they start spiraling up towards the drone. I'm like, time to bring the drone back now. It will not survive an impact with a seagull.
I think the Mavic Mini. I think I have seen one. They're not particularly sturdy. They're kind of tiny things. Oh,
they are tiny. I mean, there's some drones that will probably go toe to toe with a seagull, and the seagull will go ouch, and that will be that. Or if you've got a hexcopter or an octocopter, there is redundancy. Whereas my little thing, if it gets hit, well, it's going to plummet out the sky like a stone.
Yeah, it's just going to drop.
What questions you wanted? I feel like that this has been just one series of many, many tangents.
Well, isn't that
in my head, there's this image of you with an A4 sheet full of questions, and we're like on question 3 at this point.
Well, I did have 1 or 2 questions from folks, because actually I've not told many people that I'm actually talking to you, and I had a very fine gentleman who asked me to ask you about Edwin.
They're probably not a fine gentleman, are they? So Edwin is the name that one of the community has given to one of my vehicles, despite me repeatedly telling them that that's not the name and that they don't have the ability to name my vehicles. So, yes, which certainly you lied there, because they're not a fine person.
Because I know we know who we're talking about, and the person probably listening knows exactly who they are.
And they're probably feeling kind of grinning with glee at being mentioned. And I'm not even going to humour them by mentioning their names. So there.
But no, I don't sit. I don't sit here with an A4. When I've been talking to the voice actors, I just let the conversation roll, and how it goes. If we cover points, then we cover points. This is just a casual chat with a famous YouTuber in this case.
Who's a famous YouTuber?
You, surely.
I'm not a famous YouTuber. I would go semi-famous at best. I don't really view myself as being famous. I think when you do, that's possibly a mistake. But certainly, I don't feel famous. I don't think that I don't really think I'm anything special. It's quite like vehicles and trains and stuff, and I enjoy making videos showing this stuff off. The fact that people seem to enjoy it as well is amazing. But yeah, a couple of people have said that. It's like, oh, you're a famous YouTuber, and I've turned up around and go, oh, you're a famous YouTuber here. I'm like, really? Is that what you think? I thought if I was famous, I'd feel something, but I just feel like me. It's just really cool normal. That you guys kind of appreciate what I do.
And actually, I was thinking on it. I know you must be a fan of Aging Wheels.
Yes, yeah. Well, I watched some of his stuff, and amazingly, and I think it's true for a couple of us who make videos on the interwebs. I don't actually watch much other. I don't watch anything really. I don't watch TV really, and I don't really watch much other YouTube. I know of Edging Wheels, and I've watched several of his videos, and I think that we would get on famously, because he is very much a man after my own heart.
Yes, because I was going to say, if I could picture you with a sort of a other YouTube channel, it definitely would be Aging Wheels, because I think you two got very
Mm,
similar sensibilities, and you both own
we both have
Reliance. Yeah,
Reliance.
but they're not. But
Yeah.
only yours is the Rialto, isn't it? Rialto, and
Yes.
his is
Where
the
he's got a proper Robin, I think.
a Mark III Robin, I think it is, because it's the one
Yes.
with the
Oh,
weird modern front, and it looks weird.
yeah. Is it the one that's kind of like is it the one that Astra headlights or yeah, I think it's the one that this is the thing, right? We're going off on the one now. So much for you trying to finish this.
No, it's fine.
The Reliant, when it came out, the concept of the trike that you could drive on a motorbike license. So it was a way for people who only had a bike license, the old boys, to be able to get around in the dry. It's a horrible wet day, you don't want to ride your scooter, you can drive the Reliant. Excellent. Brilliant idea. Into the 70s, oh yeah, it's a cheap, well, cheap to run vehicle, fuel efficient, not necessarily cheap to buy because it's handmade. Fair enough. Into the 80s, cheap to buy, but there's a lot of other things, not cheap to buy, sorry, cheap to run, but there's a lot of other things that you can acquire. Into the 90s and 2002, when production stopped, why the bloody hell did anybody consider a Reliant? Because there were infinitely better cars available. Like, you could buy a Reliant or a 106, a Reliant or a Saxo, a Reliant or a Starlet, a Reliant or anything. Like, anything. And most of these like bog standard bottom of the range four wheeled cars were cheaper than a Reliant.
Yeah.
Why? Why did anybody? I think they're bonkers and wonderful, but why on earth did somebody in 2002 go, you know what I want? What? A Reliant. They were good to me as a boy, good to me as a man, and now I can afford to buy my own car. I'm going to buy a Reliant. Surely nobody looked at that and went, you know what? That's a great decision. That is. That looks stable. I just cannot comprehend how they managed to sell them past 1990.
Um,
Just
The
cannot.
Mark III has Corsa headlights. I double checked. Just
That's right. That's it, Corsa. Yes.
it just baffles me that it just goes on so long. But seeing your Rialto and being inadvertently trapped in it as well when you're trying to unload it, and that's the thing. That's part of one of the things that I really do love about your channel is there's a sense of adventure and there's character, because cars these days, I was talking to my husband about this, cars these days are kind of all the same. They've all, yeah, they might look slightly different, but they're all this roughly a compact car is a
It's
compact car.
soulless, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's no soul. I was trying to describe what sort of ones you like to my husband, and I said you like cars with character.
That's very much it. And trying to explain that, Morgan is a great example of somebody who does not understand character. For him, a car is a cold, clinical driving machine, and if it doesn't drive like a race car, it's a pointless vehicle. He doesn't understand it. He has no comprehension of character and the amount of joy that something that is objectively terrible can be just so good. Because I'm never going to argue the fact that the Reliant is a good car, but I will argue that it's the best thing to drive around in, and I love it. Because something that is bad can have amazing character, like you said, and be something fun. I mean, I think that's your credit. It's everything I like has character. I don't like modern soulless things, particularly like say battery things. I find them very soulless and they don't have any kind of life to them. But these older vehicles, they've got a real. It's not even more a character, but it's a personality,
Yeah,
and kind of they become. I'd say like an old friend, and that's how I describe getting to things like the 106. It's like seeing an old friend because you know each other so well. There's a kind of a level of trust there and a level of familiarity to it that you don't get with modern cars. And certainly, I don't think people bond with vehicles the way they used to. Back in the day, you'd have a car and you'd have it for 10 or more years and until that car fell apart. But that car would have been through so much with you. That car would have taken you on holiday. That car would have taken you to the hospital. That car would have brought a baby home. That car
yeah.
that car would be everywhere with you, and that car would be special, and that car would be an extended member of your family. Whereas now, the way most people do it with lease hire and have a car for 3 years and then move on to something, it's a disposable tool. It's this whole disposable world, and we don't build those relationships with it. And a car is just a car. And people think I'm stupid and weird for saying that, cars, extended family. But I love my extended family of vehicles. They're all very dear to me because they're more than just a car, a tractor, a fire engine, a loco. They're something special. And to a degree as well, it's also the fact that they're all survivors. Like, objectively, when you look at it, all of my stuff should be in a scrapyard. It all should have been chucked away. It's all old. It's all obsolete. It's all done its thing. It's all high mileage. It's all basically outlived its use. They all should have been replaced years ago. And that's why I love them. Because for some reason, a fire engine that's 40, 41, 42 years old is still kicking about. A locomotive that was designed to shunt a couple of wagons around in the 50s is still kicking about. A tractor that worked on the farm, which is now where the shed is, that's still kicking about. And really, they shouldn't be. Really. And that's magnificent. That's why I like railways. That's why I like steam heritage, is the fact that you look at a steam locomotive or a traction engine or whatever, you're going to go, that should have been got rid of a long, long time ago. And yet it's still here. And I just find that absolutely marvelous. And to be part of that story of keeping things alive for more people to see and enjoy, well, that's just brilliant, isn't it?
Exactly. For example, it's like you are now a part in the Rustons, 294266's history. You have left your mark that will always be with that locomotive, no matter what happens.
I like to think with most of my things that I'm not so much their owners as just their custodians until they move
Yeah.
on to the next person, and that hopefully when I'm done and I'm over, that these things will still be around and able. So in somewhat, my legacy will continue with them, and so much their story will continue onwards. And things like, I know you keep trying to wrap this up, but things like Dukes, like the fire engine, there are people who their existence, their lives are thanks to that machine. The fact that that machine functioned and got firefighters to a fire. There are people, parents, grandparents, and as a result, their children who owe their very
Oh
lives
yeah.
to that machine. And I find that just so amazing. When I walk into the shed and I look at either of them, I just think, like, yeah, there are people alive because of that. And we don't, like, we honour servicemen, we honour policemen, firefighters, members of our NHS in the UK. We honour these people and respect them, but there doesn't seem to be the same kind of level towards the vehicles and like the tools of their job. And I guess that's just me being strange and makes people go,
Yeah, no,
"Well,
it's
it's just a vehicle." But oh, definitely am. But I find it amazing that we don't treat the machine like the fire engine with the same level of the same status, because that machine has done amazing things. That machine's done more good than I'll ever do. Looking after it and trying to keep it on the road so people can see it, enjoy it, is the least I feel like I can do.
Again, as you're sort of saying, that sort of history, that heritage, you're not gonna get from your bog standard compact econo box these days. You're not really gonna get something quite like that. That's where is a wire fire engine. Well, this very appliance saved lives. It got the people who rescued other people, who put out the fire, who used the jaws of life to get them out of a car, and so on and so forth. They got those people to that and helped them do their job and help save lives. And as you said, they just don't seem to get that level of appreciation. And you could say similar about, say, the Ruston. It was just a engine that moved, wagons and that around. But it's like, that's someone's history, someone's livelihood. Someone had to drive that day in, day out, and that put bread on the table.
Mhm. I like continuing the story. Really like continuing the story and kind of having it that their story hasn't ended yet and they still got stuff to do. And having the YouTube channel is the most wonderful way to help kind of showcase that and to give them more purpose and continue their story to a broader audience. And some of the best stuff I've had is people getting in contact, people who used to, a gentleman got in contact who used to ride the Ruston to work. He worked in the paper mill, and the Ruston would go past in the morning and hop on one of the wagons. And one of the drivers of Redroof, the other fire engine, got in contact, and he was like, "Oh yeah, my dad used to drive that. That dent in the front. He says that was him." I love bits like that. Just the human side of it is magnificent. And you kind of think of like all the cars and all the things like none of my cars are first hand. They've all had other owners. You know, some of them had like nine or more owners, and you just think that that vehicle is so important to some of those people and the key moments of their lives, the highs, the lows, the moments that matter to them. That those cars are seen and all those stories that they hold that was so relevant to people's life. Like the MR2 when it came out, when people bought that. That was so cool, you know, to have that car. It must have been somebody's pride and joy, and to get to the state where it is now, where it needs a lot of work, is tragic. But you know, these things were so important to people once, and then they just got rid of them, and they moved on. And I just find that incredible. Really, that's something that was so important, such a big part of your life, and people relied on it, just gets palmed away. Which is probably why I don't sell anything, because I'm just like, no,
it's mine. I don't want it. I don't want to sell it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
I just want to look after it.
Again, it's that. It's looking at things in that way, which again I do say adds character and interest, because you've got this genuine passion for the vehicles and what you do. Because as I said, some people would just see these as utilitarian things. Oh, what is it? It's just a thing that moves things. Or, oh, it gets you to the shops and back. People seem to forget that this was people's lives, these were people's history, probably the pride and joy, or it's just insane when you start thinking about it in that way. It really does change your view on how you do look at old cars.
Oh yeah, it's more than just a car. That's what we said. That's exactly what it is. It's more than just a vehicle. And most of mine, I kind of, as I said, I kind of view them as kind of almost friends. You know, you got that kind of relationship and that trust with it, and that not like you talk to it, but you get that kind of sense of companionship and happiness, I guess, that you get when you're with your mates. Just that sense of relaxation and peace, I guess. God, I'm sounding very strange.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We're all strange here. But also, you keep saying, "Oh, you're trying to wrap it up." No, it's fine. If we end up on something that we can talk about, it's fine. But I said, I do really respect that all the effort you put into your videos, and I know that some days it must be really, really hard to do that. And so I just want to say myself, as a fan, thank you. Seriously, thank you for providing this channel, providing the community that you built up. It really means a lot than you might realize, but because it helped with my with mental health, and I had friends, and I had an escape, and you exploring your passion and being so passionate really shines through, and that's what makes your videos such good fun to watch. It makes me, I say, I'm just so proud of being part of this community. I am honoured to be able to talk to you for as long as I have, and it's like I just want to just keep waving your flag, and I hope that you can get 100,000, 200,000. I want to see that number keep going up. I want to see us hit 100K in a year or whatever. Basically, I just want you to.
So do we.
I just want I just want it to keep going, because your passion is just incredible. It's your videos also. It convinced my husband to buy me my very own train set now. So I've got the burgeoning starts of a collection. It's your fault, and and it's also, it does make we look out for the older cars as, oh, they would like that. And when you see like an old Golf GTI from the 80s, it's like, oh, that's nice, just because it's got character. And it's kind of it's your channel that kind of opened even my eyes back up to how much fun cars were. And I've always had a long love for trains. And so just seriously, Lawrie, thank you for doing what you do, and I hope that you continue doing it.
I don't really have the words. It's so nice to hear things like that. It makes everything worthwhile, and to know that we make a difference to other people is just the most reward. I mean, it'd be lovely if this became a lifestyle and I could afford it and everything, but the fact that it makes a difference to other people is the single most rewarding thing, and it's more than we could have asked for. That it means a lot to people. The fact that it means that much to people is incredible, and to be honest, it made me tear up a little bit.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm so glad that it's been something, and it's given you so much. I mean, that's the best thing we could ever ask for, is that kind of involvement, and that kind of, that it makes that much of a difference. To make something that makes a difference to people is the single most rewarding for. I think that's what artists say, isn't it? If they can make a piece of art that speaks to somebody, that moves somebody, then that's the best thing they could do. And I think, to a degree, that's for us as well. If we can make something and do something that has an impact and improves people's lives and makes them happy, that makes things better, then we've done our job. We've made this world a better place. Even if it's just you, we've done a great job, and that makes me so happy. And I know it's not just you. I know there's other people. I had somebody message me literally yesterday saying, as a result of one of my videos, they went along to one of the railways and kind of started talking, and they're now volunteering, and they're really, really enjoying it, but they wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the video, and ththey're so excited for it, 'cause it's something they've always wanted to do, but they never kind of thought they would. And to make a difference to people, to do something positive, there's so much negativity in this world, and there's so many bad things and scary things. To be able to do something positive and make people's lives better, then that's just amazing.
Please consider liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment. Doing that means I can make more episodes in the future. This is Kraken, signing out.